Hi guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Shah and this is Thoroughly Enjoyed Books. I have been in a bit of a slump again. I don't want to call it a slump actually because I don't necessarily feel like it is a slump. I've had so much going on that when I sit down at the end of the day, I cannot concentrate on a book. So it's kind of a slump, but it's also because there's a lot going on. But I am at that stage where these are all the books that I am currently reading and they've all got bookmarks in, so yay. When it gets to this stage in my reading where I have started a lot of books but I'm not really committed to any and I'm not getting through any of them, I do like to sit down and have a bit of a currently reads chat with you and just talk you through the books that I am currently reading so that you guys can maybe, I don't know, give me a kick up the bum to get them done, because some of these books I know are really popular and I do want to read them. I just keep putting them down and not committing to them. So I thought I would just show you what those were, tell you a little bit about why I put them down, because some of them there are genuine reasons, others I just haven't been able to get into properly, I guess. This is almost like a trash my TBR, but it's my trash my currently reading. So let's start off with Get Alive, Chloe Brown. I got about 120 pages into this book, 121 pages actually, in one sitting a few weeks ago. I did a live reading sprint with some of my friends and I did really enjoy this and I read it in one sitting, but it starts with a car crash. And if you know anything about me, you know that I am a really anxious driver. I'm trying to work on it. I am actually selling my car and getting a new one because I've learned actually it might be my car that is causing my anxiety rather than anything else. But I'm finding that a lot of books lately are starting with car crashes and it just really triggers my anxiety and I can't read them. So even though I did get past the car crash and get a good chunk of this done, I did then put it down. But I really want to get back into this one because I was really enjoying it and everybody seems to really enjoy this book, so I want to get through to it. I was just a little bit triggered by it. Another book that starts with a car crash is Bruised by Tanya Boteju. This book is right up my street. I really want to read it. It is sapphics who go roller skating. Like what more can I say other than that? Basically, I started this book and discovered very quickly that the main character's parents die in a car crash. I believe it's a car crash. It talks about an accident and a seatbelt, so I'm 90% sure it's a car crash. If it's not, then the book makes it seem enough that way that, again, it triggered my anxiety. And when I sat down to read this, I just couldn't. But I love, like, the peachy pinks and the greens of this cover. I think it's absolutely stunning. So, again, I really want to read it. I'm only, like, a chapter into this one, which is, like, 10 pages, if that, 6 pages. I got 6 pages in. I do plan on picking it up again at some point. Something I found is that if I start a short story collection, it takes me a really long time to finish it. Even though I love short stories, I just can't binge read them as I would a novel. So I'm currently in the middle of 2 short story collections. The first I've talked about a few times. It's Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory by Raphael Bob Waxberg, who is the creator of BoJack Horseman. This is basically a bunch of stories about relationships. It looks at breakups, at other people getting involved in other people's relationships and how to just navigate emotions. And I really love what I've read of this so far. I think I got a bit stumped because a lot of these short stories are maybe 10-15 pages long and I came across one that was like 50 pages. So that kind of slows things down for me a little bit when I'm reading short stories. But again, it's one that I want to get to, and maybe if I just keep reading a short story a day, I'll be able to push myself through it. But I've been reading this one since February. It's been a long time since I started this book and I'm just not getting anywhere with it, even though I really love it. It's really good. The other short story is only one that I started recently, so I should be able to persevere with this one, and I haven't hauled it yet. So, spoilers. It is Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. This is a book that Sylvie recommended to me on some of the Sunday reading sprints we do over on Shannon and Anna's channel. I can't remember whose it was that week. I want to say it was Shannon's. And I ordered this when we were talking about short stories to get into, and I read the first one and it was phenomenal. It was one of the best short stories that I had ever read. It was called The Husband Stitch and it was all about consent both sexually over a woman's body and parts of her body she wants to be touched, and the husband stitch, which is a non-consensual stitch a lot of women have got after giving birth to babies. Really traumatic. actually, and really horrific. So I really enjoyed that story. But as you can tell from how I've just talked about it, really intense and really triggering in a lot of ways. So it was quite hard to get through that. But overall, again, really, really enjoyed it. I only started this one last week, so I'm not necessarily struggling to get through this one. It just happens to be another one that I've started and not finished yet. A book that I have mentioned why I stopped reading it quite a while ago is Nowhere Girls by Amy Reed. I think I might actually pick this one up again because I am wanting to give it another shot. So I got 105 pages into this one before stopping, because this is a book about sexual assault, particularly around teenage sexual assault, and it's quite tough. I think technically it's a YA novel, but obviously the content and the way that's explored in this book is quite tough. So it's also kind of an adult book as well. I stopped reading this in February because obviously I had a lot going on in January and February and my brain just couldn't take it. So I did decide to put this one down at the time and come back to this at a later date. But I think the writing in this is absolutely beautiful. This is a book that both Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe and Leanne from Leanne Rose picked out for me to read this year when I got my booktube friends to pick out my TBR for the year. And I'm really glad they both told me to read this book because it is really good. It's just a case of, at the time, I was not mentally in a good place to read this, and I might still not be, but I'm in a better place than I was in January, so I want to give it another go. And then the last two books are these two that I'm really disappointed I haven't got through quicker, actually. I'm just having a hard time with this type of book because I like to say that I really enjoy millennial fiction. I think a lot of the reasons that people are so critical of millennial fiction is a lot of misogyny, because it's a lot of young women who write millennial fiction. It's their genre, and I don't need to explain anymore why that's a little bit of misogyny going on there. But these two I've just not been able to gel with. They're also both Irish books, and I don't think that's the problem. I think it's just a coincidence. But the first I have DNF'd twice now, and I want to read it. I want to finish it because it's got so much hype. So many people love it. It's longlisted for the Women's Prize. It's Exciting Times by Nisha Dolan. This is a gift from my best friend last year, and I was so excited to read it, and everyone compares this to Normal People. I don't think it's anything like Normal People. It just happens to be millennial fiction written by an Irish woman. I just find it quite difficult to get through this book. I don't really care about any of the characters, and I'm all for an unlikable character, but I like to care about my unlikable characters. Like, I want bad things to happen to them, maybe. I have some sort of feeling towards them, and with these ones, I just don't connect on any level. However, I have had a few people tell me that once you get past the first part of the book with the male love interest, it gets a lot better. So I want to persevere and get there, but I have DNF'd it twice. And I'm only 63 pages through. So if I've DNF'd it twice that early on, do I really want to persevere and try again? Yes, maybe. We'll see. And then the last one is another one I haven't yet hauled, but it is This Happy by Neve Campbell. I picked this up really recently on my first trip to Waterstones because I wanted to treat myself to a new book. I just wanted to go into Waterstones and pick up a book that I'd never heard of before. This one drew me in by the spine. I just liked the spine, I don't know why, and it was called This Happy. It drew me in, and when I picked it up I realised it was by an Irish author, and it was recommended for fans of Normal People, and David Nichols blurbed it, and those are all things that I really, really enjoy in a book. But I got to page 65 again, and I was just not gelling with this. It also has a lot of 1-star reviews on Goodreads. My problem with this book is that it kind of reads like it hasn't been edited. It kind of reads like a first draft where the author has just written everything down but hasn't edited it out. We are following our main character, whose name I forgot, Alana, is reflecting on a relationship she had when she was 23 with a married man, now that she is 30 and married to another man, and comparing those two relationships. But the way it's written doesn't separate those two narratives. It kind of just blurs them all together in massive chunks of text. So when you're reading, you'll be reading about one of the love interests, and as you go down, it'll switch to the other, and there's no natural separation of that, and it just feels like it's not being edited very well. I think it's kind of stylized to be almost stream of consciousness, but isn't quite working. But I'm going to give this one another go because it is easy to read. I did get to where I am quite quickly in it, and also I really love this cover. I don't think it's intentional, but this character looks like Sally Rooney to me. It just looks like a portrait of Sally Rooney. So here are all the books that I am currently in the middle of. Varying degrees of enjoyment at the minute. Some of them, as I've mentioned, I'm really enjoying. Others I've had to stop because they're quite triggering, and some that I'm just really struggling with. Do let me know if you have read any of these books, and if you have, what did you think of them? Should I keep persevering? Are there any that just don't get better and maybe I should DNF? Do let me know in the comments down below, but they're all so pretty. As usual, I will leave my links down below to my Twitter and my Storygraph and all that good stuff. Come and follow me on there and talk to me about books, and I can't wait to talk to you all in another video very, very soon. Take care. Bye.